English language learners and limited English proficient students are doubly segregated. First, they are segregated by schools. They are more likely to attend poor central city schools with a large portion of economically disadvantaged students. Second, they are segregated by classrooms. These students are likely to be segregated from their English-speaking native-born peers. Segregated by schools. As you can see, 69% of LEP students are in 10% of the schools, and there are 43% of schools with no LEP students at all. These findings show that English language learners are highly concentrated in a limited number of schools serving primarily ELL and immigrant students. Additionally, schools serving high concentrations of English language learners tend to be large, urban, and serve minority students, while schools without a concentration of English language learners tend to be small, rural, and serve a predominantly white student population. The high LEP schools ELL students are concentrated in are mainly poor central city schools with a large portion of economically disadvantaged students. These schools have high student-teacher ratios, high student enrollments, and high levels of students living in or near poverty. There is a negative correlation between school segregation and a number of academic achievement indicators, such as state-mandated test scores, graduation rates, enrollment in college prep courses, number of students taking the SAT, SAT scores, and matriculation to college. When ELL students are not isolated in these low-achieving schools, their gap in test score results is considerably narrower. For example, among 8th grade ELL students, 30% score at or above the proficient level in math if they attend a middle school that has a minimum threshold number of white students. Among students that do not have this minimum threshold, only 10% score at or above the proficient level in math. This suggests that the lag in test score achievement of ELL students is attributable in part to their isolation and segregation into low-achieving public schools. Segregated by classroom. ELL students are likely to be segregated from their English-speaking native-born peers. By limiting their exposure to the linguistic modeling and social knowledge of their English-speaking peers, this double segregation diminishes the social and cultural capital ELL students need to become integrated and well-functioning members of the American society. To use English in school settings and in socially and culturally appropriate ways, students need to interact with native language speakers. Segregating them by classroom and isolating them from the educational mainstream makes the task of promoting proficiency in English among Hispanic English language learners much more difficult. Their interaction with ordinary English-speaking peers is essential to their English language development and to their acquisition of academic English, which is needed to attain the dominant social and cultural capital to move up in American society. If children and youths of diverse ethnic backgrounds are not allowed to attend school together, they have few opportunities to get to know one another, to become friends, and to learn about the heritage of each group. Children who are exposed to ethnically diverse peers in classrooms tend to exhibit reduced adherence to ethnic stereotypes and a reduction in ethnic prejudice.